For today, I'm going to read a question I received from a well-triber. She says, "Hey Agatha, I'm proud of the brilliant work you're doing. I don't know what took me so long to discover your content, but I'm glad that I'm here now. I've been skeptical about taking life insurance. It requires a substantial amount of my money, and it may affect other financial goals that will guarantee returns, example, infrastructure bonds. Then there's inflation, which is a big worry for me. Considering that I have 2 kids now, should I go for it? Is dash dash bank a good one, or do you have a better life insurance provider? My current portfolio manager at Dash has been pestering me about taking the life insurance, but I trust my sister can guide me better." First of all, clearly we went through the same high school with this well-triber, which is really nice. But so I'm sure most of you have similar questions. So today's stories, I'm going to answer her questions. So I'll start with the first sentence where she says, "I have been skeptical about taking life insurance." A lot of us are. A lot of us are very skeptical about taking life insurance because there are very many myths surrounding the concept of taking life insurance. And one of the most common one is where people say that if you take life insurance, then it means you're calling death. Yes, I'm sure you've heard that before, in that, you're playing God by taking life insurance. And this is because, what is life insurance? Life insurance is a lump sum of money that is paid to your dependents, people who depend on you, like your children. It can be your nephews, and your nieces, it can be your elderly parents or grandparents. So life insurance leaves a lump sum of money to your dependents, right? When you pass on, in the event that you pass on, or when you get into a disability or you get a critical illness. So people say you're calling death if you take life insurance. So yes, that is one of the myths about life insurance, and that is why a lot of people are skeptical about the concept of taking life insurance. But I would encourage you to take life insurance, because as we said, there's wealth accumulation, wealth protection, and then wealth transfer. Now, taking life insurance is important because it replaces your economic value when you pass on, when you get a critical illness, or when you get a disability, right? So if you're a parent or if you have dependents, if you got into any of those, it replaces you, right? It replaces your economic value. It's like if you are earning 200,000, if you're earning 200,000 and then you have life insurance, then people who are dependent on you, like your children, keep getting that amount of money. Their lives continues uninterrupted, and that's why we bust that myth. So other reasons why you should take life insurance include. So life insurance can also be used as a way of paying off any pending debt. So if you have any pending debt by the time you get a critical illness, or you get into an accident, or you die, your life insurance can be used to pay off that debt. Another one is that life insurance can be used for taking care of day-to-day household obligations such as rent and bills. So imagine a situation where you're a parent and then you pass on. Your kids have to continue living, your kids have to continue going to school, your kids have to continue eating, your kids have to continue dressing. So life insurance does that. It replaces, again, your economic value. And then life insurance can be used for all forms of childcare, including their education. I've talked about that. And then life insurance can also be used to protect your business and ensure its continuity. So you don't want your business ideally to die with you, because it may benefit other people in your life. It's also a way of leaving a legacy and creating generational wealth, because it leaves a lump sum inheritance to your dependents. So yes, there are many reasons as to why we should get life insurance. Now, the other part of her question is that life insurance requires a substantial amount of my money, and it may affect other financial goals that will guarantee returns, such as infrastructure bonds. That is the second myth, right? The first myth was about getting life insurance, it's calling death. The second myth actually about life insurance is that life insurance is expensive. A lot of people think that life insurance is unaffordable, that you need a lot of money in order to get insured. You can get life insurance with even 3,000 shillings per month. Yes, you can get insured with even 3,000 shillings per month. Between 3,000 to 5,000 shillings per month, you can get life insurance. In fact, I remember one of my friends, Marianne, who talks about life insurance, saying that with 5,000, you can actually get life insurance. And so actually remember her giving an example that with 5,000 shillings, you can end up with a life insurance cover that gives your dependents around 10 million shillings, which was like, whoa. We always thought that, you need to be a multi-millionaire, you need to be very rich, because the other, myth is life insurance is expensive and therefore it's for the rich. The third myth is that people say that life insurance is for old people, to mean that the only people who should be getting life insurance are people who are retired or people who are 50, 60, 70 and the likes. But the truth is, you remember what the definition of life insurance was? The definition was that life insurance replaces your economic value and pays a lump sum of money to your dependents in case you pass on, in case you get a critical illness or, you get into a disability. And now that you know the definition, then it definitely means that any of us can pass on at any time, at any age, right? And any of us can get a critical illness at any time and at any age. And that is why getting life insurance is a smart thing to do, especially when you have dependents, because then it means that in case it ever happened to you, it's a risk management process. If it ever happened to you, then you and your dependents that you love, right, are protected. Yeah, so we've busted the myths about life insurance. We continue helping this wealth triber. So she has said it requires a substantial amount of money and it may affect other financial goals that will generate return, such as infrastructure bonds. So literally, this lady is comparing insurance with investments, such as investing in infrastructure bonds, which have been giving us returns of even 18%, for the last year. Now, these two things are supposed to be in different baskets, or rather, your wealth building journey should include both, right? Because now you understand that there are three aspects of wealth. Wealth accumulation, which includes those infrastructure bonds that she's talking about, so she should have them, right? But then there's also wealth protection, where she takes insurance to protect those bonds. So yes, she needs both. She needs to invest in both those infrastructure bonds in order to grow her wealth, but she needs to take life insurance so that in the case of an untimely death, or in the case of a critical illness, or in the case of a disability, then life insurance will automatically or will immediately pay her two kids, because she mentioned that she has two kids who are her dependents. Life insurance will immediately pay her two kids a lump sum of money, so that her kids are able to continue living, right? So that her kids are able to continue living, and if she has a critical illness, so that her life can continue, so that there's no disruption of her day-to-day life, right? So she needs both. So you can't compare the two. So your wealth should have three baskets. Again, wealth accumulation, wealth protection, and wealth transfer. You should have all of them. Then there's the part about inflation, where she says, and it may affect other financial goals that will guarantee returns, example, infrastructure bonds. Then there's inflation, which is a very big worry for me. So inflation is, the rising cost of living, right? If 2 years ago I gave you 2,000 shillings, you went with it to the supermarket, you'd buy more goods than you would buy today, because of the concept of inflation, the rising cost of living. Okay, so she's worried about, infrastructure bond. There is inflation, which is a big worry for me. So first of all, we should always invest in things that beat inflation. So for example, the current inflation in Kenya is around, has been for the last year they've reported between 5.9% to 7%, around there. So everything that we invest in should be above 7%, like those infrastructure bonds. So if you're investing in anything that is above 7, you're covered. So to manage how inflation affects your wealth accumulation, make sure that everything in your wealth accumulation baskets, which is those infrastructure bonds, those treasury bills, the stock market, those money market funds, those real estate investment trusts, those offshore investments, and everything that you're investing in, make sure that it is beating inflation. And so now I'm sure this lady is also wondering, does inflation affect insurance, or does inflation affect life insurance if I'm going to take it? The last part of her question reads, is Dash Bank a good one, or do you have a better life insurance provider? My current portfolio manager at Dash Bank has been pestering me about taking the life insurance, but I trust that my starry sister can guide me better. So first of all, most banks can provide insurance, various forms of insurance. But the problem is usually that a lot of us get sold products that are not customized to our needs. So you end up with insurance that does not 100% cover what you're looking for, because sometimes you don't have a personal relationship with this person, or rather you don't have a good enough relationship, or you've not done enough consultation sessions with this person, with this relationship manager at your bank, in order for them to recommend the right thing. So most of the time they're just pushing to you things that they need to sell. So I'm sure I have provided the answers that this wealth triber needed, and at the same time I will directly DM her in order for me to find her the perfect life insurance provider for her. And then I have to remind you that 2 months ago, Miriam from Le Risk Africa and I did a whole webinar about the concept of life insurance, myths around life insurance, how much does it cost to get life insurance, what factors affect the cost of life insurance, how much are you going to get, how do you claim for your life insurance in case you get unwell or a disability, how do you add beneficiaries so that your life insurance benefits go to the right person, and everything in between about life insurance. So I will leave a link here so that you watch the recording of that life insurance, because I always say that I need wealth tribers to take up stuff that they understand. That always has been my rule.